Hey everybody, so it's time to do another Enforcers Hall of Fame video because I still have a ton of guys to get through, more than I can even count really. I have a long way to go with this, but today we do another one, another tragic one that really is a little bit sad to do. Not that it's sad that we're putting him in the Enforcers Hall of Fame, but it's sad what happened, and today it is Wade Belak. Wade Belak was a very, very tough guy, and always a guy who would stick up for his teammates, always a guy willing to drop the gloves. And his career and life, unfortunately, got cut short when he passed away in 2011 at the very young age of only 35 years old. He was one of the three former NHL tough guys that passed away in 2011 within a few months span, along with Derek Boogaard and Rick Rippon, that really shook the hockey world and shook the NHL. But anyway, Wade Belak played 549 career games in the NHL. He scored 8 goals and 25 assists for 33 points in those games, but he was not there to score points. He had 1,263 penalty minutes in his career. That's what he really was there for, to be a tough guy and to protect his teammates and stand up for his team. He had 125 career fights in 549 games, so he fought quite a bit. His best season offensively and his season with the most fights happened to be the same year. And I've noticed as I've been doing these that that's the case many times, that players have their best offensive seasons also happen to be the same year that they have their most fights. I don't know why that. I'm sure it's coincidental. I don't think there's any correlation there, but it's just interesting that as I've done these and looked at the numbers for all of these fighters, that oftentimes is the case. But it came in 2002, 2003 with the Toronto Maple Leafs. He had 17 fights that year, which was the most he ever had in a season. He also had 9 points that year, which is the most he ever had in a season. He scored 3 goals and 6 assists for 9 points. Belak 7 times went over the 100 penalty minute mark in his career. 7 seasons. His career high in penalty minutes also happened to come in 2002, 2003. He had 196 penalty minutes, so he was only 4 away from 200. So if all he had to do was fight one more time, and he would have passed the 200 mark, but it wasn't meant to be. He never passed the 200 mark in his career. Belak was a guy who could play forward or defenseman. I remember him mostly as a defenseman. But I believe towards the end of his career he started playing wing. But I know NHL.com has, if you look at his page on NHL.com, his player page, he's listed as a right wing. But I remember him mostly as a defenseman, and if you go to hockeyfights.com, he's listed as a defenseman. So Belak made his NHL debut with the Colorado Avalanche, but in 1996, but never really. I don't remember him as an Avalanche player. He played for a couple years there, but not very many games over those couple of years. He then went on to Calgary, where he played from 98 to 2000. Again, didn't play all that much, although he became a little bit more well-known as a Calgary Flame. And then his career took off when he was with the Toronto Maple Leafs. He played in Toronto from 2000 to 2007. And when I think of Wade Belak, I think of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I remember him as a Maple Leaf. That's I think the team he's most well known for. That's a team where he spent most of his career. He spent longer in Toronto than anywhere else that he played, and I think of him as a Maple Leaf. After his time in Toronto was up, he went to Florida for a couple of years, 07 to 09, and then he finished his career in Nashville from 09 to 2011 when, unfortunately, he passed away. But Belak was a very tough guy. He was one of, one of the most well-known enforcers and biggest enforcers of the 2000s, really, because he really didn't make a huge impact in the NHL in the late 90s. He played kind of sparsely here or there for Colorado and Calgary. He really made a name for himself and became a regular NHL player and in the lineup on a nightly basis with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And that's where he had the best years of his career. That's where he spent most of his NHL career. And I think for most people, he's remembered for his time in Toronto, where he was one of Toronto's biggest tough guys. And, from in that era of hockey, 2000 through, the 2000s, you had to have a tough guy, and Belak was certainly a very tough player. He was never shy to drop the gloves, very willing, and always there to stand up for his teammates. Or if the boys just needed a jump and they weren't playing well to start the game and they needed to get things going, Belak would be there to stir something up and drop the gloves. So Wade Belak is now enshrined in my Enforcer Hall of Fame, where he belongs, along with many of the other great enforcers of the NHL history. I have many more to go, but today is Wade Belak's day, and I hope everyone remembers him for the great career he had, the great enforcer that he was, and the tough guy that he was, and the way he stood up for his teammates and his team. And he had some really strong years in Toronto, where I think he played the best of his career. So Wade Belak is now in the Enforcer Hall of Fame, and that he will stay there forever. So with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media, check out offthewallhockey.com. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support Off the Wall Hockey, the link to our Patreon as well as our merch store are also down in the description. So if you're interested in either of those, please go check them out. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.